Okay, so now moving forward, let's discuss more about Einstein Trust Layer. That what Einstein Trust Layer exactly is and how it works, right? So safety and security of customer data is the topmost priority of today's time, and Einstein Trust Layer helps you to deploy AI safely and securely in your business. Let me clear it to you. Nowadays, every company, every organization wants to deploy AI models or AI agents into their business, right? But while deploying the AI models, they are more concerned about their customers' data, whether the customer data is safe or not, right? So here, Einstein Trust Layer comes into the picture. Salesforce has created Einstein Trust Layer, which can help you to deploy some AI models or AI agents safely and securely into your business. It makes sure that your customer data is not breached, right? Now let's understand how it makes sure, like how Einstein Trust Layer makes sure that your customer's data is safe. So here on the screen we have the architecture of Einstein Trust Layer. Onto the left side we have the CRM apps, and onto the middle side we have the Einstein GPT Trust Layer, right? So it Einstein Trust Layer always starts with the prompt given by the user. So once you give a prompt to user to the AI agent, the Einstein will retrieve the data securely from your company data, and then the next step is to perform dynamic grounding onto their prompt and the customer data. Now let's understand what is dynamic grounding, right? So dynamic grounding is the process to merge your prompt and the customer data, the actual customer data. It is a process to merge both of the things, right? To generate some more user personalized outputs, right? So once dynamic grounding is done, the next step is to mask the data, right? So when we say data masking, it is about to hide the sensitive information from the LLM. Before sending the prompt to LLM, it hides the sensitive information, right? So who decides this sensitive information? So Einstein has the capability to detect what information is sensitive or not, right? So once Einstein detects that this information is sensitive, it will auto mask that particular data so that the LLM cannot read this, right? Also you can set up which data has to be masked, right, into your setup. We'll see how to do that. Now, once data masking is done, that particular prompt, right, the prompt which has gone through the dynamic grounding and masked, right, that particular prompt now will go to LLM models, right? So LLM model will then generate the outputs and send it back to Salesforce, right? So once the data is sent back to Salesforce from any LLM model, the LLM model will have to delete that data due to zero data retention policy. Now, Salesforce has some agreements with Salesforce has some agreements signed with various data models, various LLMs to for a zero data retention policy. What is zero data retention policy? So whenever a prompt goes to the LLM and LLM generates the particular output, the LLM will have to delete that Salesforce data or the company data or user specific data. They cannot keep the data to train their model, right? So this is what zero data retention policy is, and this is how Salesforce is making sure that the customer data, the company data is not breached, right? Then once the output is back to Salesforce, uh, the Einstein Trust Layer will detects the toxicity into that output, right? So once the LLM has sent the data back to Salesforce, Einstein Trust Layer will detect the toxicity, right? So here's the process of toxicity detection, which makes sure that the output which came from the LLM is safe. There is no issues in that particular output. Once the toxicity detection is done, okay, so toxicity detection gives a number from 0 to 1, right? So 0 is the safest and 1 is not safe, right? So in between there can be any number, right? So this is what toxicity detection is. Once everything is good, the user will get the output, right? And now user has two options. If you like that If you liked that output from the LLM, you can further use it or update that. If you do not like this, you can always give the feedback, and that feedback will get stored into your data cloud. And now in the data cloud, you can again use that particular outputs to generate the reports to see how much secure is your data and what went wrong and everything, right? So that your feedback will store into the data cloud to generate some reports, right? So this is how Einstein Trust Layer works. Now let's talk about it step by step. So this is when we know that Einstein Trust Layer always starts with a prompt, right? So this is a prompt which a user has given to the Einstein Trust, which user has given to the AI agent to draft an email for their customer, right? Now uh, the next step is for dynamic grounding, right? So we know that dynamic grounding is the process to merge your prompt with your company data, with your actual company data, right? Okay. So you see here these tags, the sender dot name, are replaced with the original data, right? This is what dynamic grounding is. The customer name is Zendo and the company is Ursa Major Solar. These are replaced with the actual data, right? This is what dynamic grounding is. Once dynamic grounding is done, the Einstein Trust Layer will mask the sensitive information. While dynamic grounding provides relevant customer info, it is necessary to keep the personal data safe, safe from LLMs. Uh, while dynamic grounding provides relevant customer info, it is necessary to keep the personal data safe with from LLMs. And Einstein Trust Layer detects and masks sensitive data and replace it with context-specific placeholders. Now, before sending this prompt, right? After dynamic grounding, before sending this prompt to the LLM, the Einstein will auto detect the sensitive information like the Zendo, which is your customer's name and the company's name, and mask it, right? So this is how data masking happens. Now, the main thing, once the grounded and masked prompt is ready, it will go to the LLM, right? Then LLM will generate the user specific output, the more personalized output, and will send it back to Salesforce, right? Now, once the data or once the output is sent back to Salesforce, the LLM model will have to delete that particular data because due to the zero data retention policy. So you see, once the response is sent back to Salesforce, LLM will have to forget the data due to zero data retention policy. And once Salesforce receives the output, it will show onto the UI to the user. Or let's say once the data is came back to Salesforce, the Einstein Trust Layer will perform toxicity detection. Toxicity detection is to provide some marking. It can give you a number from 0 to 1. 0 is the safest and 1 is not safe, right? If everything is fine into toxicity detection, if Einstein do not uh, do not find any toxic data into the output, it will demask that output from received from the LLM, and the final output will be shown to the UI to the user. If the user is happy with the output, they can use that response or edit that further, right? If the user is not happy with the response, they can provide a feedback which will store in your data cloud. You can use reports to see how Einstein Trust Layer keeps your data safe and secure. Use feedback to improve outputs. So this is how Einstein Trust Layer works, and this was the complete architecture of Einstein Trust Layer. Now let's see how to decide which data has to be masked. Let's go to our org and click on setup. So basically the data masking, like how can you decide that which data has to be masked? This feature is not available into developer org, but If you have the enterprise level org, you can just go to the setup and trust and search the Einstein Trust Layer. From here you will find Einstein Trust Layer, and once you click on the Einstein Trust Layer, you will see an option to select the fields or select the objects which has to be masked, right? If you also go to the article of Salesforce itself, how to turn on data masking, you will click on this link. You see that this feature is only available in enterprise, performance, and unlimited editions. If you are having these editions, you can just go to setup, and from setup you can find the Einstein Trust Layer, and there you'll be having an option, right? So this is how it works.